They are all muscle operated, so there are actually no wires or anything attached. You literally just slip your arm in, and as soon as I'm in there, I can move the fingers. So if I flex my muscles, the hand will open, and if I squeeze my muscles, the hand will close. When I was born, I was completely fine, happy, healthy baby, and nothing really seemed off at all. When I was 15 months old, I basically fell really, really ill with a disease called meningococcal septicemia strain B. And it wasn't until my nana went to change my nappy actually that she found these kind of rash-like marks on me. My mum kind of describes it as almost old age bruises underneath the skin. That's basically what they look like, and all she needed to do was like act incredibly fast because she'd read it and she just knew that it takes life and it takes over your body very, very quickly. So she called the ambulance and they were asking her questions and stuff over the phone, but she was just like, I'm sorry, this is what I think it is, and I'll answer any questions, just tell me you're on the way. And then she literally scooped me up and she was literally running to meet the ambulance at the end of the street because it's basically a battle with time at that point. And I got to the hospital eventually. They basically took me in. I was transferred to a bigger hospital and I was just basically told that I was going to die. And my parents were told that I was going to die. I was given what they said 0% chance of survival. And yeah, there didn't really seem like there was much hope for me. It literally got to the point where they were going to strip my body down for the machines to keep me stable. And they genuinely asked my family, told them to like go in and see me because they couldn't be certain at all that my eyes would open again. They knew what was intended was for them to go in and almost say their goodbyes, but they went in, but not with that intention because they both collectively knew, like, this is Tilly and she's not going to die. I don't care what you say, she's not going to die. So this was actually my first ever prosthetic when I think I got this when I was 2 years old, and this was from the NHS. When I got these first prosthetics, we were in the clinic and it was handed to me in a brown paper bag, as if something to be like incredibly discreet about. There was a woman when we were walking away from the clinic and she basically ran after us and she just said, you know what, that is the exact same thing they gave to me 25 years ago at the time, and it hadn't changed the function, how it looked, anything at all. But there's basically 3 prongs, and I guess this is what was the thumb, and this hook basically attached to this big harness, and that would go over my little 2-year-old body, and the way I would move kind of my shoulders and my upper arms would pull on strings and make the thing go side to side, like almost like a pinching movement. And I physically couldn't use it because the strings were actually really, really hard to pull. Like my mom could barely do it, never mind a 2-year-old. So when I was using this arm, I generally looked at it as more of a weapon than a hand. I think I had more fun with it, like chasing my sisters around, pretending I was Captain Hook with it, and slapping them more than anything else. So this was from a company called For Orthopedic. It's high definition silicone and it's actually based off of my older sister's hands because sisters are said to have similar hands. So my sister put her hand in some goo or something like that, and they basically mimicked all of her freckles, all of her wrinkles, and they have the nails that you can paint. These are the ones I would wear out and about, but these were the same ones that, although they looked realistic, they moved incredibly robotically, and it was the same limited movement where only kind of the thumb and I think these 2 fingers would like open and close. So yeah, I think these ones were around the £36,000 point. Obviously they're a lot of money, and I think the £36,000 mark, that was like for the pair of them, but when I was getting them we didn't not have that much money like all the time, so I would usually have to pick which arm I wanted. And I remember I was always had a massive preference for the left hand. You actually, as a child, grow out of the hands and need to replace them as you get older, and your arm gets bigger just with like growth and age.
When do you have a point where you first notice that something's different about you compared to other children?
When I got into primary school, I started to notice the more kind of the reactions from other people, and not only how I thought of them, but how other people thought of them too. I found when I was wearing the extremely high definition realistic prosthetics, when I was around people that didn't know my story and didn't actually know that they were prosthetics, I would get a hell of a lot of stares, more stares than I would have done when I wasn't even wearing hands and I didn't have hands. Because people honestly couldn't decide whether the hand was real, whether it was fake, like what it even was, because it looked so realistic. I would paint the nails on it and everything, and it had wrinkles and it felt almost like skin, but then it moved so robotically. I felt like I always had to wear these different prosthetics to kind of blend in, and you're wearing it more for the comfort of other people than yourself. What if we just went the complete opposite way? And it's something that I never thought of before. I think because I was never told I was allowed to think of it before, because it was always just like, yeah, you have the realistic prosthetics, you're going to look like everybody else. Maybe looking really realistic isn't what I want.
Can you talk us through the process of being chosen by the company to receive the Bionic arms?
My mum had heard a bit about 3D printing, and just out on a limb, she was just like, put into Google 3D printed prosthetics, and up popped Bionics because their hands are completely 3D printed. And at the time they were a really startup company, and they were basically looking for a child below the elbow amputee to help them develop their prosthetics. And I'd had experience with other prosthetics in the past, building up that muscle. I fit the criteria, they were looking for someone to help, we were looking to get back involved. I had loads of ideas I wanted to share. I guess you can say I kind of auditioned for the role in a way. I know my mum sent them a picture of like me dressed up as Alice in Wonderland as my little promo picture, and Sammy, who is the CEO, one of the CEOs of the company, said like as soon as she saw me dressed up as Alice in Wonderland, she was like, that's the one. As soon as I got in with the company, we met them down in Bristol, and they showed me around, they got me fitted with my own prosthetic arm, and they were teaching me how to do it, and I think I grasped the basics in a good 5 minutes, honestly. I think it's because obviously wearing prosthetics my whole life and always moving those muscles, it kind of just felt like second nature to me at that point. So a lot of people do need like training on how to use these hands, using muscles that they never had to use anymore since they've lost their hands, or if they're born without the hands, they kind of forget they're even there. But since I was like very well prepared and kind of that side of it all, I was causing absolute chaos in the lab, to be honest. Like within the first 15 minutes, I was picking up these balls and like things and just chucking them across the window. I know I whacked the radiator at one point. There's one video that they have where I'm like really, really little. I'm just having so much fun, like just chucking things around.
All right, well, this is a bit that we're all waiting for. Would you mind giving us a demo of them?
Yeah, sure. You don't mind the noise?
No.
Okay. Basically how they work is they are all muscle operated, so there are actually no wires or anything attached. You literally just slip your arm in, and as soon as I'm in there I can move the fingers. So if I flex my muscles, the hand will open, and if I squeeze my muscles, the hand will close. I think it's just the way that you would move your organic limbs, because I can like see my hand moving on the inside, and it would be the exact same way as like you closing your fist and opening your fist and doing a thumbs up. So the grip modes, there are 6 in total, and it kind of looks like a menu system. So if I flex my muscles to open the hand all the way, and then if I flex again, I'm going to have you pay attention to the button on the back. That turns green, and there's a vibration on the inside of the arm for me, and you would have seen the thumb come around like that. That's basically me changing the grip mode. So the thumb turns around and I can do a normal close like this for, say, if you were holding maybe a cup or a bowl or anything like that. I can do a grasp. This is definitely the one I use the most. High fives, handshaking. It's also how I hold makeup brushes in there, because I do makeup tutorials with my Bionic arms. And as well, thumbs up, that's pretty important. Then if I press the button, it'll turn pink. I now have access to 2 more grip modes. So that is the 2-finger pinch. This was kind of my signature pose with the company for the longest time. I can do this, which is called the tripod grip, but I like to call it a peace sign because I was using it as a peace sign. And you can also make those fingers go down like that. Then these are the two newest ones. If I press the button one more time, I can squeeze the muscle and do a tiny pinch. And I've been in the lab working with this tiny pinch, and I can confirm it picks up the tiniest beads, like hammer beads, anything like that. You can pick up with that. And then if I flex one more time, this is the last grip, kind of for fun. It's a point, so I can point like that, and that can also go down like so.
Is there anything that you wish your arms could do?
Oh, there's loads of things I wish my arms could do. It would be great to get an automatic wrist. At the moment, there's a wrist in these hands, and they are manual, so if I just pull it around like that, you'll see there's a wrist, but it is only manual. An automatic wrist would do wonders for not only me, but everybody else I know, because you don't realise how much you use your wrist every day. So that would be incredible. Also some kind of haptic feedback, whether that would be a vibration in the arm when you've got a good grip on something, or I don't really know how this works. I'm not a scientist. I just have the big ideas and delegate. Whether that would be like a genuine sense of touch, I don't really know how that would work, but some kind of haptic feedback would really, really be helpful. So there's a lot of things I want to see. I still have faith that all of them will become reality, and I feel like it's going to be sooner than we all think. I do a lot of like fashion and talking about expressing yourself and confidence and stuff online on my social medias, so like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. I love to match my hands to my outfit, like match it to my makeup or match it to the mood, like however I'm feeling that day. And it's almost like now I look at my bionic arms as not only a medical device, but almost a fashion accessory too, like a tool to totally express myself. And fashion accessory and medical device is something that really are quite the contrast, and I never thought I would say in the same sentence, but that's how it is now.
Did you notice a lot more people suddenly staring at you?
Yeah, definitely I noticed stares, but it felt completely different. Like when I'm not wearing the hands and I'm just have my arms, I don't have a problem with stares. I'm just used to it at this point. That's what you get when you go outside and you look even the tintiest bit different. So you just kind of get used to it. But when I'm not wearing hands, kids especially get like, they're just curious. They're like, oh, I've got hands, she doesn't, type thing. So they want to go over and ask. But now wearing these bionic arms, as you can imagine, there's still plenty of stares. But it's now not sympathetic at all, like in the slightest. It's not negative. The reactions I get from especially children, I think is just so much fun. And not just for me, but all the other users that now wear these bionic arms as well. Kids see you in the street now and they just think, wow, like they'll literally shout at the top of their lungs, Mom, look at her hands, why has she got robot hands? But then the bit they'll put on the end is, where can I get my own robot hands? And that's something that you never hear before. And this is my medical device, and I clearly have no problem with showing that off. Like these are DIY from like a local business who like lammed these cases up for me there. And we're just having a lot of fun with it now. My main message at the moment is all about expressing yourself and telling people that if they look a little bit different, that they don't need to blend in, even if people have told them they have to, and that's totally up to them, and they shouldn't like be influenced by other people or negativity or the past and history of prosthetics in any way, because I just feel like you control that, and I try to own my difference now, and I encourage my audience to do the same.
If you could speak to somebody with the same condition that you have, that's much younger, that's just starting to be aware that they're unique, what would you say to them?
Well, I think the most important thing for them to know is that they're not alone in it, because I feel like I do actually get a lot of people, a lot of like mums actually who have their children and their children are suffering from that disease, and they'll contact me because they will have seen me on something, or they've seen me on social media before, and they'll just like ask any questions or anything like that. So I always encourage any questions, but I feel like one of the main thing that I tell all these people is that there's a much bigger community out there than you might think. So don't ever think you're alone in it, and never let people tell you what you can and can't do. That's a big thing for me, because I was told when I was in hospital that I wouldn't be able to walk, I wouldn't be able to run, I wouldn't be able to play the piano, I wouldn't even be able to live. So my parents actually went out of their way to like buy a secondhand piano, and were like, if she wants to play the piano, she will play the piano. Don't tell me what my child can and will not be able to do. And my kind of motto in life is, we've all heard the saying, look for the light at the end of the tunnel, but I always try to say, look for the light within the tunnel, even if it's just like kind of a flicker of a candle. Like, there's always got to be something there. That doesn't just go for people who are potentially limb different like me. That goes for anybody, just for a more happier, fuller life, I think.
A lot of people who have Tourette's tend to report that they have fewer tics or none during sex. But the thing about that is, that's because it engages your focus. So that only applies to good sex, which is really f***ing brutal, because I've never hurt a guy's ego more than simply going during an intimate moment.